Hello everyone. Magnus Carlsen extended his lead to 6-3 with a win as black in the 9th game of the World Championship. We're delighted to have with us once again to review the game, Garry Kasparov. Garry, a big welcome.
Thank you, thank you. I probably would make a little correction. So that was not so much Magnus' win, but Nepo's loss.
Indeed. It was it was a bad one indeed. It was. I mean, Jan came out of the rest day with a new first move, c4. So, and actually, I thought the opening idea was quite interesting. E6, G3, D5, Bishop G2. The only thing that I wondered about was, I thought that maybe Magnus would have looked at this from the white side because, I mean, Nepo was playing his E6, D5 stuff against pretty much everything. So, wouldn't have surprised me if Magnus had looked at this recently with white as well. So, from that point of view, maybe.
Yeah, Matthew, we didn't know what Magnus would do if the match stayed even. Now, after winning Game 6, Magnus, I guess, decided to play not safe, but there was no risk, and it's very unusual for Magnus because he used to be very aggressive. If he could smell blood, that's like Predator. He would go for kill. But I think what might be a surprise for Nepo in Game 8 that Magnus played very, very quiet line against Petrov. Again, expecting Nepo to blunder or just to play poorly. And unfortunately, as for us, the viewers, the audience, Nepo cracked under this pressure. So as we talked about, it's some players having the glass jaw, and Nepo failed to recover after Game 6. Big blow. I mean, just such a long game, and he could have won the game at one point, but definitely could have held it. But losing the game proved to be unbearable challenge to him.
Yeah, indeed. It's so here after Bishop G2, Magnus played D4, which is quite.
This is interesting. Look, better than anyone else, but it's the computer strongly suggests to cross the demarcation line. When I play chess, this is D4 would be considered second-rate move because you move into some sort of King's Indian Benoni reverse color, but white had at least one tempi extra, but probably even two because pawn on E6. But machines have very different view, and also by the way, the pawn on E6 might be again it's not on D5, but it limits white's options with the idea of B4 at one point, with knight on F3. There's some combinations with B4 knight takes E5, with queen A4 check.
In a lot of lines, this pawn on E6 is much safer anyway than having a pawn on E5. So it's and actually, I thought I mean Magnus played very accurately here. I mean, I think there's two ways for black to handle this. I mean, either you play knight F6 and meet this rapid plan of E3 with E5. This is one idea. And after E takes D4, you can play E4. This is one really sharp idea for black. It's just a pawn sacrifice. It's quite martial-ish, actually. Wouldn't have surprised me if Magnus had gone for this. I think this was this is kind of the main line that you play. H5, and just do something. Actually, you're just aiming to play Bishop G4, force white to play F3, and get compensation like this. It's that's
very it's computer line. So I could smell Alpha Zero.
Yeah. It was actually I was analyzing this stuff by myself, and I thought, this is not going to be anything. And then you stick it on the engines, and they say, we like this. It's crazy, right? I mean, what Magnus did, I thought was quite clever because so he plays this move Bishop C5. And the idea is then that if white goes E3 in this position, then you play the knight to E7, and then this really helps D4 ideas.
But D4 is well protected, and again with pawn on E6, is black position in the center is more solid. So
It's but I thought it was quite.
I think Nepo did just found the best way to deal with the bishop c5. So because one disadvantage is that bishop can be attacked, and so he just he made the most natural move, d3.
Yeah, d3. And I mean, I think here, Magnus again played, accurately again, because I mean, after d3, I think the idea is that if you play the knight to e7, then we play the knight to d2, and suddenly this bishop on c5 is rather awkward, But Magnus played knight f6, and I think he's got past the initial stage anyway of difficulty. It just made me think that he knew this reasonably well. I think he was piecing it together in his mind. He wasn't playing quickly, but he seemed to have it quite accurately worked out in his head. So knight d2, a5, played knight b3, bishop e7, e3. And now another concrete move from Magnus. He played this
a very important move, because because if you castle, probably after white could play h3, yes.
Yeah. I mean, h3, knight bd4, I think was another.
Maybe, but this knight g4, just it creates a slight discomfort, it's the white's position.
Yeah, exactly.
Here I mean, knight d4, one option, yes.
Yeah. I thought he was very. I mean, he started thinking after bishop c5, or he carried on thinking rather. So I don't know. I had the feeling maybe he knew something about this position, not completely, but he knew that this was a decent idea.
But which critical position? It's few moves later. So that's Nepo, when Nepo has a chance to actually.
The castles, d4, a4 played, bishop takes e7, queen e7, knight c5.
Okay, and here is a3 the best move?
Well, it's not the engine's first move, but I have to say that in general, if you look at what arises from it, it's not so bad for black. So it's a pretty good move as well. I mean, e5 was what the engines were screaming for, and then you get this move rook e1, rook b8, and then this lovely idea b4, simply to try and I mean, obviously knight b4, we can go something like queen b1, get out of the pin, and then take the e5 pawn. I mean, this was the kind of engine stuff that they were looking at. It's really sharp, right? I mean, there's knight d2 here, there's h3. So I mean, if you prepared this as white, then it would be quite interesting. A3 actually for the engine should be met by the same move. So they wanted b4 here as well.
Yeah, that's. I was surprised Nepo didn't play before.
It's his style, It's really his style.
The situation was desperate for him, But after b4, its position is unbalanced. That's something that Magnus may not be happy with.
Yeah. No, I really thought it was his style. I was quite surprised. I mean, he played quite quickly. He took on a3 somehow.
No, but I mean, b4 is just it's because what's next? What's next?
I mean. Black has to go for this line, I think. Otherwise, white stands very well. But you can just about get away with it, apparently. So you go rook b5 in this position, and the big point is that you can't go c takes d4 because knight d4 and this loose knight on g4, the big weakness in Black's position gets hit, and a8 is weak as well. You can survive. You play this move rook a6, and after rook c5, you go bishop b7, and you're kind of going to sort of get out of it, really. I mean, queen b1, bishop a8, you'll bring the knight back. It's okay for Black. I mean, Black will get out of this in the end, but it's complicated moves, complicated a lot of stuff that you'd need to work out somehow. And
that was Nepo's best chance to
absolutely. I mean,
create some complications. After b takes a3, the position becomes. It's easy to handle. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, this is I mean, you see again how Magnus just plays all these natural moves.
But even here, this is I was surprised. Why you had to play rook e1?
Rook e1 was surprising.
Rook belongs to d1, so that's it offers you nothing, but at least you can after queen takes e3, you can play rook fd1.
I think maybe he was sort of thinking, I want to stop bishop d7, which is why I played rook e1. That was my only. But I mean, this looks a much more natural setup for white. Just to.
It's still nothing, but at least you have your pieces are just that's properly developed, because after rook e1, queen takes a3. Black is probably not better, but I mean it's such an easy play.
I mean, it was really. it was really hard to see anything that Nepo could do. Really, it was. I mean, actual fact, he didn't emerge badly from it.
Why did he play h4? Can you tell me?
Yeah, I think this is. This is
eventually g4 square. I mean, why to play h4? I mean, you can play h3, for instance.
Yeah, no, I know it's possible. It's what, but yeah, I mean, you see it so often in engine games nowadays. It's
yeah, but why not h3? Because he's at least maybe he could. I mean, that would I would consider, because you don't want g4 square for knight. Then if you want to play queen e3 knight e5, you'd better play h3. Not h4.
Yeah. No, absolutely. It's just become a bit of an automation. I think,
automation, but that's because that left this g4 square unprotected.
Yeah. No, it's true. It's bishop d7, knight e5, bishop e8 from Magnus. Yeah, queen e3, queen b4. It's a good move as well.
Yeah, of course. But that's
yeah. It's rook b1 was maybe a little odd, but it got a decent reaction because apparently Magnus had missed.
Yeah, and by the way, knight g4. That's exactly what we're talking about. Now he had knight g4.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, so with pawn on h3, Black could have experienced some problems.
Yeah, indeed. It was. I mean, this was queen takes e1, rook e1, and then we're just heading for this terrible blunder, I'm afraid. With
but it's the f3 knight h6 bishop e4. Yes, that's the that was the.
I mean, white's a little bit. Again, if Magnus was white, you'd be saying, okay, well, Black still got to prove the draw here. Some little pressure with the c pawn and the passed a pawn. It's.
No, at least that was a very natural development, and that was a chance. So it's this take rook c1, and show me,
show me exactly. You're under pressure for once. Show me the draw. I mean, that would have been great, but obviously this. I didn't know, this just a huge lapse of concentration. I think I
don't know what's happening. Yeah, he played fairly. It was not immediately he played. He played spent a few minutes.
Yeah. I think he probably a bit reasonably happy maybe with the course of events. Maybe after the opening he thought, oh, I'm not sure how it's going, and now he's safe and a bit better, and just missed this.
Okay,
c5, c6. Yeah. It's just resignable.
Okay, the rest is not interesting.
The rest is not. Indeed.
But amazing,
Yeah, no, incredible. I just you hadn't. I mean, players can blunder, but this was a very unusual one in a quiet position.
Yeah, because this is it's the people say this is the worst blunder, but it reminds me of Fischer. Bishop takes h2.
Yeah. I don't know. I think people who say it's the worst blunder, they haven't seen some of the older World Championship matches,
Oh this is Chigorin Steinitz. So this is the last game of the match. Blundering mate in 3 or in 2 even. And Fischer Spassky Fischer.
Yeah, this was indeed.
I can pick up my own blunder. That's a game 7 in New York.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Queen a5, knight d5. So that's against Karpov. Yeah. But this one is bad because it's no pressure. I mean, and it's so natural, cutting the bishop.
Yeah. I mean, actually, what else is Black going to do? Kind of, it's just really,
It's a pity. It's a pity that that's the that in game 8 and 9, Nepo just basically, it's committed harakiri. This was suicide. So Magnus did very little, if anything, to win the game.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, he could be going into this rest day with just one down and still, still everything to play with.
Yeah, absolutely. But game 8 after queen e1, queen e7, as we discussed, the game would be an easy draw, and that's probably what Magnus wanted. That was a big surprise for Nepo, that Magnus didn't want to end match immediately, and just was ready to go all 14 games. With extra point. Yeah, but now it's 3 points, and it's the question is, if Nepo has any chance of winning one game, but I doubt. Yeah, but let's see. So maybe he'll just now being just in hopeless situation, maybe he'll show us what he can do.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly think they've certainly. I think his team is well prepared. I mean, they've got plenty of ideas. So, yeah, I mean, but yeah, I don't know. It's just in himself. I think he needs to relax and somehow
the preparation. Preparation wise, he's extremely well prepared.
Yeah.
You cannot, you cannot argue that it is he had enough ideas and and there's nothing to complain. I mean, this is the openings were okay, and it also seemed that Magnus wanted to play very solid openings.
Yeah,
you see, this is the E5 was white, was against E4. The Ruud Lopez and C4 E6. To me, that's a signal that he would have played, some sort of a Queen's Gambit. That was D5 again. He was looking for a pawn in the center, so that's for a very solid position, and he believes that he could defend, slightly inferior position against Nepo.
It's I mean, I suppose that's a big strength somehow. If as a champion you just sort of feel, well, I'm used to matches that last long periods of time. I can cope with that tension. I can cope with that.
And again, he was right.
Yeah, he was.
This is the way you evaluate, one's strategy. He was right because he's winning and winning comfortably.
Yeah. It's well, we're going to see what the rest of the match brings.
Of the match. So let's hope for some more excitement. Though, it will be just like it's more like single games because the match is over and it's the single games. Let's see if we have something exciting to comment on.
Brilliant.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thanks very much, Garry.